A new Fallout game means new perks and special systems. How is this stuff going to work in an online game? Hey guys, JV here, and today I'm sharing all that we know about perks and specials so far in Fallout 76. Keep in mind this is a speculation video uploaded on July 23rd. This information can very well be proven wrong after today, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more Fallout 76 videos just like this. All of the following information and screenshots are taken from the Making of Fallout 76 no-clip documentary, so I highly recommend that you check that out before you watch this video using the link in the description below. Let's start with information that we do have. Here's a basic overview of how the perks and special systems are going to work in Fallout 76. Instead of creating a certain special build at the start of the game, it appears like we begin with every attribute at 1. No matter what, your strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck will begin at level 1. Each time you level up in Fallout 76, you get to upgrade one of those special stats. These seem to give passive boosts to certain skills in the game, but we're not actually sure how they work yet. We'll get back to that in a second. Also, each time you level up, you get to choose a new perk card. They're not perks anymore, they're called perk cards. There are a limited number of perk cards that you can have active at a time, and you can swap them in and out at any time, essentially giving you unlimited character respecs. That makes me wonder, if we can swap out perk cards, can we refund our special points too? That's a super important element of any character build, and I want to have as much control over that as I can, so really hoping we see that. You can also share perk cards with your teammates if you're playing in a group, which is an interesting mechanic that we'll explore more in this video. Something that is very important to this conversation but we know nothing about so far is skills. There is one perk card that shows like hacking skill, for example, but we don't know if this goes from level 1 to 100, whether there are skill checks for certain things like melee weapons, increasing damage. None of that. We don't know anything about that so far. I assume that they're in the game because we do see hacking skill on one of the perks once again. So we'll talk more about that later. Once again, each time you level up, you upgrade a special stat and you choose a perk card. Here are the two categories of special that we have descriptions for. Intelligence is a measure of your overall mental acuity and affects your ability to hack terminals, the condition and durability of items that you craft, and the return you get from scrapping. So, intelligence determines your hacking skill, item condition, crafting quality, and scrapping. If you look at Fallout 4, this makes perfect sense. Hacker, Scrapper, and Science were all intelligence tree perks. The crafting quality makes sense too with Gun Nut. That was also an intelligence perk. The issue is we don't know exactly how much each point affects these stats and skills, like I just mentioned. I would have expected intelligence to dictate our ability to repair items too, but that's not listed, so maybe that's handled by an entirely separate system that we don't know about yet. Next, we have charisma, which is very different in this game because as we know, there are no human NPCs to interact with. Charisma is your ability to lead and help others. It allows you to share higher point perk cards and also affects your rewards from group missions and prices when you barter. As we can tell, charisma is completely redesigned and repurposed around interacting with other players and playing together. Since we don't think we'll have NPCs to persuade or convince, speech is a useless skill from what we know. Once again, you can share perk cards with other players, and charisma allows you to share higher quality cards. And there's a whole ranking system we're about to talk about, but we know from other information that you can share cards with anyone. There's a baseline level of cards that can be shared, but if you specialize in charisma, you can share the higher rank perks, compared to the average person who doesn't. I can see the group mission rewards boost being very valuable for people that prefer to play with others. Finally, higher prices when you barter. This is interesting. If I'm bartering with another player, don't we control the values? Doesn't that person have an up and down and we can kind of control that ourselves? Does this create a higher minimum sell price for each item? Apparently there will be NPC vendors, so it could just affect those prices, but I'm very interested to see how bartering works in this game. Charisma and intelligence are the only two categories of special that we have descriptions for, but we can speculate on the rest until we have more information. This is what I think the others will be based on previous Fallout games and what we know so far about 76. Strength could be your carry weight, melee weapon damage, and unarmed damage. Perception could be your VATS accuracy, lockpicking, explosives damage, and ability to steal. Endurance could be your hit points, damage resistance, chem resistance, action point drain from sprinting, radiation, food, and diseases and mutations. Agility could be your action points, sneak, and sprint speed. And luck could be your critical meter, charge rate, the amount of caps you find on bodies and in, containers, odds that the mysterious stranger appears out of nowhere, things like that. Since we are just speculating, I'd love to hear what you guys think these will be in the comment section below. We also have details on 6 specific perk cards, but before we talk about them individually, let's look at how these work overall. Once again, you'll choose 1 card each time you level up. This is what they look like. The number in the top left represents how many cards of this exact type that you have in your inventory. The name of the card is along the top, and the description, what it does, is near the bottom. The letter in the bottom left is the special category that card falls under. The stars in the bottom right represent the rank of the card that you are currently viewing. Each rank adds a new element to the card or improves an existing characteristic. If you find a duplicate of the same rank, you can actually use it to rank up that perk. For example, if I have 2 concentrated fire rank 1 cards, I could use the duplicate to convert the remaining card to a rank 2. I imagine there's going to be a whole economy behind this, trading between players. Do you have this rank, if you give it to me, I can get to rank 2. There's a lot of possibilities with this card stuff. Now let's look at the cards. We have Inspirational. When you are on a team, you and your teammates gain 5% more XP. This is a charisma card and it's rank 1 of 3. I'm guessing consequential ranks will increase that percentage. This perk is lifted from the one in Fallout 4 that increased the damage of your companions, which again is different, right? I mean, will we even have companions? My guess is not, since other players kind of fill that role in an online game. Next is Lone Wanderer. When adventuring alone, take 10% less damage and gain 10% AP regen. This is a charisma card and it's rank 1 of 3. This is like Fallout 4, but I'm curious if the other ranks will increase the things that it did in Fallout 4, like carry weight and damage dealt, particularly damage dealt. I think if it did that, it'd be a little too powerful when you're talking about PvPing and killing other players. Alternatively, maybe not. Maybe that is a balancing factor for solo players. If you run across a group of players that are acting like raiders and want to kill you, maybe you have Lone Wanderer and that increases the damage that you deal so you can protect yourself against groups. Next is Vampire. Blood packs now satisfy thirst, no longer irradiate, and heal 50% more. This is a charisma card and it's rank 1 of 3 as well. This is completely new and very specific. It makes me wonder if blood packs, which aren't really that common in newer Fallout games, will be more prominent and common in 76. Perhaps there's a lore reason behind that. Also, this suggests there is a level of role-playing I didn't really realize might be in 76. Can we actually become a vampire? It says that these satisfy thirst. Is there a thirst for blood? Is that a mechanic? Is that a quest? Very interesting. Next is First Aid. Stim packs restore 10% more lost health. This is an intelligence card and it's rank 1 of 4. This is self-explanatory. I expect the other ranks to increase that percentage like they did in previous games. Now we have Hacker, gain +1 hacking skill. This is an intelligence card and it's rank 1 of 2. And we actually do have the description for rank 2 because they show it in the video. Terminal lockout time is reduced when things go wrong. In Fallout 4, higher ranks of Hacker would increase the level of terminals you could hack into. It seems like that still exists in 76, but it's attached more to the hacking skill rather than the hacker perk. Also, 1 skill point is nothing across most Fallout games, and so to me that suggests that skills work a little bit differently than what we're used to, so we'll have to see how that works. Next we have Makeshift Warrior. Melee weapons are 30% less likely to break and cheaper to repair. This is an intelligence card and it's rank 1 of 3. This one is very interesting to me because it's so specific. We know that intelligence in 76 dictates the condition and durability of weapons and items. However, this card is specific to melee weapons. In the NoClip documentary, Jeff Goodman, the project lead on 76, said there are orders of magnitude more perks in this game compared to Fallout 4. So I expect a lot more very specific cards, just like this one, tailored for very specific playstyles. The final card that we have is Concentrated Fire. Every VATS attack on the same body part gains 10% accuracy and damage. This is a perception card and there are 3 ranks. We have all of the ranks. Rank 2 increases that percentage to 15, and then rank 3 goes up to 20%. This is identical to the perk in Fallout 4, but the damage bonus is given immediately, which suggests to me that this is a super strong card. This is something I'm going to want immediately. And it brings up another point. We see no level requirements for these perk cards. Maybe there is like a master perk card glossary that we can refer to and see, oh, you can't even use this until a certain level. Do we collect perk cards out in the world, or is this something that is very much like the special chart in Fallout 4, where there are certain levels that you can't access perks until you reach that level? I'm very interested about how all of this works, and we just don't know at this point. Additional details we have from the NoClip documentary. We can see in some screenshots that the game asks the player in this specific situation to choose 48 and then 49 cards. We can make a lot of assumptions from that, such as the max level being 50, at least at the start of the game. But most importantly to me, it tells us that there will be a ton of variation in this game. Imagine choosing 50 individual perk cards, all with their own ranks and bonuses and descriptions. It's far more than Fallout 4 ever had. Also, Jeff Goodman makes it sound like the perk system was built with co-op in mind. Bethesda Game Studios wants players to be able to specialize to work together more efficiently. You know, you have one character that specializes in survival stuff, one in combat, one as a medic, one as workshop defenses, one as crafting, on and on. Jeff also mentions that there are perks that have pluses and minuses similar to traits from the first two Fallout games. For example, one might be that you are more vulnerable to diseases, but you gain a health buff in exchange for that. He also mentions a robot vendor, but I'm not really sure what context he was mentioning that in, whether that's a perk, which would seem weird, or whether that's a crafting, schematic that you can find out in the world and build your own robot vendor. Not sure on that one. Overall, from what we do know, I am very excited for this character building system. It sounds super flexible, and player choice is always very important to me. We just have enough information that we can speculate and make assumptions on how these systems will work, and I am loving what I see so far. Feels like we'll be able to specialize our characters in a way that is, way more in-depth than any Fallout game to date, especially if there are orders of magnitude more perks than Fallout 4. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. In the comment section below, tell me if you are excited for this perk system in Fallout 76. What about this excites you? Share your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video, remember to subscribe to my channel for more Fallout 76 content just like this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.